Hello everyone and welcome to another FeedArmy video. In this video we will be talking about things that you need to do on your website to advertise on Google Shopping. If you've missed the previous video about the pre-checklist, basically things that you need to be aware of before you start advertising, go and check the previous video. You can click on here or you can click on the link in the description if you're on a mobile device. So let's start by making sure that you have the right policies on your website. You need two types of policies. These can be related to on one page, or you can have them separate in two different pages. But you need to make sure that you explain the returns and refund policy. If you don't know how to write this, there's a link in the description that you can click on, which explains what you need to write, but making sure what you need to cover. It doesn't explain how you need to write it, but what you need to cover. The second part is that you need to cover the delivery charges in your policy. So these are two things that you need to make sure there's a link on the footer of your page throughout the whole of your website. Another thing that you need to make sure on your website is that you have clear contact details. You need to make sure that your company name is on there, your email address, your telephone number, and your address where your company is registered. This needs to be visible to make sure that customers can contact you if there is an issue. You also need to make sure that you have a form, a contact form where you can add all the details, where the customer can add all the details to contact you. If you list pricing, make sure that if you're not in the US, Canada or India, that all prices are inclusive VAT or tax. This needs to be done because Google Shopping is a consumer marketplace. It's not really a wholesale or bulk buy kind of marketplace. You can list wholesale products, but you need to make sure that they're VAT inclusive. If you have products on sale, make sure that you use the attribute for the data feed as in sale price. Do not submit prices which are in discount for the normal attribute price, because otherwise you cannot benefit of the automated promotions, which only works if you have the sale price value when you have a sale price on your website. Any customer on your target country needs to be able to purchase your product. You cannot have limits to who cannot buy from your website. Even people that are outside of the target country, let's say you target the United Kingdom. I am a British citizen that goes on traveling in, let's say, Thailand. Then you need to make sure that people in Thailand can visit your website, because otherwise that's a violation. You cannot block people based on IP or country. When you sell products in bulk, i.e. wholesale, then you need to make sure that the minimum purchasable quantity is the price that you submit on the data feed. Let's say the minimum purchasable is 100 quantities at the price of $2, then you need to list the product in the data feed as $200 not with the quantity as 100. A lot of merchants think, oh, let's just list one product at the price of $1, but you have the quantity, minimum purchasable quantity of 200 or 100. You cannot do that basically, because the customer, when they go into your website, they cannot purchase it for $1. They have to multiply it by the quantity of the minimum purchasable order. So that is not going to work. Because Google Shopping is a consumer marketplace, you need to make sure that the prices are for minimum purchasable volume. Make sure that the checkout is secured. If you collect information such as the address, the name for billing, or the delivery address, then that is considered personal information. If you collect that information, meaning that if the customer has to type it onto your web page on your domain, you need to be secured, which means the URL needs to be HTTPS instead of HTTP. If you have a gateway that is secured with SSL for all your information, and you do not collect anything collect any information on your website that is related private, then you do not need a SSL certificate. However, most merchants kind of do collect information, so it's recommended that you have SSL. A bonus is that if you have your whole website in SSL, meaning HTTPS, you will get a little bit of a ranking bonus. So it is well worth your investment to do it. Even if it's just for Google Shopping, it will give you some SEO bonuses as well. Now let's talk about the landing page. The landing page needs to make sure that the title, the image, description, the price is all very clearly visible above the fold. Above the fold means that if you open your website and you see all the content, that is above the fold. When you scroll down, that is considered below the fold. So you need to make sure that all that information is clearly visible when you first view or open your landing page. Make sure that the product links that you list in your data feed do not direct to search pages, categories, because these are considered generic landing pages. You need to make sure that the landing pages are for that product that you can purchase. Also avoid redirects. Google does not like redirecting. There is a special feature that you can do to add query strings in AdWords redirect links, but if you want to make sure that you are within the policy, make sure you do not redirect. As mentioned before, you need to make sure that the landing page can be accessed throughout the whole of the world exactly the same. You cannot change anything on the landing page based on IP or country, browser or anything else. So it needs to be identical. Even for mobile devices, it needs to be identical, and in a sense that the information needs to be there. I'm not saying that you need to see the whole landing page on a computer exactly the same on the mobile device, but that the information is visible. Make sure that the landing page has the pricing visible, clearly visible, meaning that if you have a VAT exclusive price, a recommended retail price, or any other types of pricing, that the final price that you need to pay, or in this case the customer needs to pay, is first visible, because Google reads it from top to bottom. So if you have RRP, for example, first, then Google is going to collect wrong information compared to what is the effective price that the customer needs to pay. Because Google crawls your web page throughout the month to check that everything is correct. It checks the data feed price and your landing page price, that they are the same. Make sure, if you're targeting multiple countries, that the URL properly defines the information on the website, meaning that if you're targeting the UK and France, that if the link is from France, that it correctly shows the right information, meaning euros in price, and also that the language is in French. If the customer data feed link is coming from the UK, meaning the target is the UK, you need to make sure that the price is in GBP and also that the language is in English. You need to make sure that the availability is clearly visible on your website. So what you need to do is make sure that the availability says in stock and that it correctly correlates to your data feed information. You have around 24 hours to make sure that the information both on your website and your data feed is 100% correct. Also make sure that you have your microdata installed on your website. This is to ensure that the information of your data feed and your website is identical, and that if you, for example, change your pricing quite frequently throughout the day, that Google can check the pricing through the microdata information. So it's very important that you add microdata, which is a schema.org format, onto your landing page. You can disable the information collecting setup in Google Merchant, which is in the settings, but I recommend that you keep it enabled because it's very good that Google can view your data.